The morning bell rang sharply across the compound of Royal Crest International School, one of the most expensive private schools in Accra. Students in polished shoes and neatly pressed uniforms hurried across the tiled courtyard, laughing loudly, some showing off expensive phones, others talking about weekend parties. But among them walked Kojo Mensah. Quiet. Simple. Different. His uniform was always clean, but never new. His shoes were polished, but worn at the edges. Around his neck hung a small wooden cross. Kojo was known for one thing. Church boy. Pastor Jr. Holy Ghost fire. That was what they called him. Every morning before classes, Kojo would sit under a mango tree at the edge of the compound, reading his Bible softly. Not loudly. Not to show off. Just quietly. But that quietness irritated people. Especially Kweku Banson and his group, rich boys with influence, pride, and too much confidence. "Yai Kojo!" Kweku shouted one day, approaching him with his friends. Kojo looked up calmly. "Are you praying for school fees or what?" Another boy laughed. The group burst into laughter. Kojo smiled slightly. "I'm just reading." Kweku snatched the Bible from his hand. "Let me see what God is telling you today." He flipped through it mockingly. "Maybe he'll tell you how to stop being poor." More laughter. Kojo said nothing. That silence made them push harder. From that day, the bullying increased. They hid his books. They poured water on his chair. They mocked him during assembly. They mimicked him whenever he prayed. Sometimes even teachers noticed, but said nothing. After all, Kweku's father was a major donor to the school. One afternoon, during lunch break, the bullying went too far. Kojo sat quietly eating his simple rice and stew. Kweku walked over again. "Why don't you just stop this church thing?" he said. Kojo looked at him calmly. "This is who I am." Kweku smirked. "Then let's test your God." Before anyone could react, Kweku slapped the food out of Kojo's hand. The bowl hit the ground. Silence. Students gathered. Watching. Waiting. Kojo slowly stood up. For the first time, his eyes were not just calm. They were heavy. Not with anger. But something deeper. Something unsettling. He spoke quietly. "You don't have to believe what I believe, but don't fight what you don't understand." Some students shifted uncomfortably. But Kweku laughed loudly. "Or what? Your God will punish us." Kojo didn't answer. He simply picked up his bag. And walked away. That evening, something happened. Something nobody expected. Kweku and his friends decided to sneak out of the school hostel. It wasn't their first time. They scaled the back fence and headed toward a nearby road to meet friends. Laughing. Carefree. Untouchable. Then suddenly, a loud screech. Headlights. A speeding car. Too fast. Too close. Everything happened in seconds. The car lost control trying to avoid a pothole. It swerved violently toward them. Kweku froze. For the first time in his life. Fear. Real fear. Then, a shout. "Move!" Someone pushed him hard out of the way. Bodies crashed. The car slammed into the wall. Dust filled the air. Screams followed. When everything settled, Kweku opened his eyes slowly. Shaking. Alive. Then he saw him. On the ground. Bleeding. Unconscious. Kojo. Nobody knew how he got there. Nobody knew why he followed them. But he did. And he saved the very person who humiliated him. The school was thrown into chaos. Students gathered. Teachers rushed. Ambulance sirens echoed. For the first time, the laughter stopped. Days passed. Kojo remained in the hospital. Unconscious. Fighting. The entire school felt different. Quiet. Heavy. Kweku stopped talking. Stopped laughing. Stopped leading. One morning, he walked alone to the mango tree. Sat down. And for the first time in his life, he opened Kojo's Bible. He didn't understand everything. But one verse was underlined. Love your enemies. Kweku broke down. Tears he had never cried before. Weeks later, Kojo woke up. Weak. But alive. The day he returned to school, nobody laughed. Nobody mocked. As he walked through the compound, students stepped aside. Not out of fear, but respect. Kweku approached him slowly. No pride. No arrogance. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice shaking. "I didn't understand, but now I do." Kojo looked at him, calm as always, and simply said, "I forgave you before you even asked." The school never remained the same again. Moral lessons 1. Respect people's faith. Never mock or attack what someone believes in, especially when you don't understand it. 2. Kindness is more powerful than revenge. Kojo had every reason to hate, but he chose love, and that changed everything. 3. Bullying has consequences. What seems like fun can lead to serious emotional and life-changing outcomes. 4. Silence does not mean weakness. Kojo's quiet nature was strength, not weakness. 5. True faith shows in actions. Not just words, Kojo proved his beliefs through sacrifice. 6. People change when faced with truth. Kweku only changed after experiencing reality and consequences. 7. Never underestimate a good heart. The person you mock today may be the one who saves you tomorrow.